I could either play Subnautica and explore the great big ocean depths, or I could play Spyro the Reignited Trilogy and explore the great wide big open skies and the great green luscious grass. You guys can see where I'm getting at here. I'm probably gonna lose at least like 10 subscribers, something like that, from people in the Beyblade community not liking me, liking a bit of MLP and stuff like that. But it's because of episodes like this that I actually tend to like the show. This is an episode called Surf and or Turf, where it talks about a subject which I can see them wanting to talk about, and talking about it in a pretty appropriate and great manner. But without spoiling what the episode is talking about before I actually talk about it in this review, in a way, let's get to the episode. And also, this is an unscripted review. I'm just going to say what I feel like, when I feel like, and just do multiple takes on it until I say it the right way for people on YouTube to appreciate it. So let's get started, shall we? This episode starts off with Twilight sitting down at the map while the Cutie Mark Crusaders burst through the door talking about how their magical butt tramp stamps are glowing. It's not like this is the first time the map is called someone who isn't from the main six, so it's not really that surprising. I was actually kind of just waiting for it to happen at this point. Essentially, the CMC have now been called out over towards Mount Aris, and I'm kind of wondering how they're going to get there, because Twilight said before in other episodes that when the map calls someone, she just lets those people, or two people, go off and do their thing, and doesn't let anyone else come, because she believes in the map's guidance and stuff like that. Although she kind of contradicts that here, seeing as how only the 3 CMC were called, but since they're young little children, they can't go by themselves, so she has to accompany them. You'd think the map would have also called her mark there, or at least in a smaller form than what it normally would be, but hey, what you gonna do about it? While on the train, we get Sweetie Belle telling a complete recap of what happened in the MLP movie for those who probably couldn't see the movie or don't have any DVDs or any merchandise for it yet. Essentially, we go to Mount Aris. We find that the hippogriffs turned themselves into sea ponies thanks to the magical big pearl they had, and apparently Applejack defeated the Storm King. Not really, though. It was actually all of them, mostly Twilight, because, main character Twilight. But she says it'll make a more interesting story. I mean, her defeating the Storm King single-handedly? I'd pay money for that. Not really, though. Heck, I didn't even pay money for the original movie. I did pay money for it, and I legitimately watched it. After finally making it down to Mount Aris, both the CMC and Twilight happen to run into a hippogriff/sea pony called Terramar, who is the younger brother of Silverstream, and we already know that Silverstream is, if I'm correct about this, the cousin to the hippogriff/sea pony princess. Don't know if I've got that right, but I kinda don't feel like looking it up real quick. As Terramar shows both the CMC and Twilight around Mount Aris, we see the other hippogriffs and even Terramar's father, Skybeak, also the father of Silverstream, as I said, their brother and sister, are performing in the Hippogriff Festival, partaking in some festival games and stuff right now, doing some pretty good and lit acrobatics. Yes, I said lit, and I instantly regret saying that. I'm too lazy to do that. When Skybeak finally gets done doing the Festival of Games, Twilight and CMC walks up to him along with Terramar, while Twilight's main reason for even coming here was so that way he could sign a special permission slip for a field trip that Silverstream could take. And I'm kind of contradicting what I said earlier about how she believes in the map and stuff like that, but that was also a way for her to loophole her way to join the CMC in this mission, so yeah, I've got nothing. As Twilight goes off with Skybeak to both sign the slip and probably explore more of Mount Aris with the CMC, while Terramar and the CMC go off on their own and try to have a nice good talking conversation. Terramar shows the CMC even more of Mount Aris, and Sweetie Belle just says it can't hide the fact of how much she loves this place. It's also around here where we learn that Terramar, who would have seen it coming, is actually the one with a problem that the CMC is supposed to be here helping to fix. We learn that Terramar is actually torn between two worlds, seeing as how his father is Skybeak living as a hippogriff, while his mother is actually living down in Sequestria, and he doesn't know whether or not he wants to stay with his father or with his mother, because he feels as though no matter what, he's disappointing the other one. Basically, this episode is supposed to deal with kids who have to live with two different parents, have different living circumstances, or probably even divorced, where they have to go see each one on different days and stuff like that. I myself don't actually have this problem with my parents, but I still want to talk about the episode because it's one of those episodes that most people don't expect a show like this to actually touch upon or even handle, and it handles it pretty well actually. The CMC decided that Terramar should make down a list and then write down every pro and con to both Sequestria and to Mount Aris, while Sweetie Belle should say that you might as well just live on Mount Aris, seeing as how she prefers it more than both Equestria and Sequestria. Even though she hasn't seen or been to Sequestria yet, so it's kind of a biased decision.
I haven't been to Sequestria yet. How can you even compare them?
But at least they do point out that she hasn't been there yet, so we actually get to see more of Sequestria, seeing as how we haven't seen it since the movie. Right before both Terramar and the CMC can head on down to Sequestria, Twilight actually decides to tag along, seeing as how she actually still needs the signature of their mom for Silverstream permission slip. Terramar then proceeds to turn both the CMC and Twilight into brand new merchandise, and they head on down to Sequestria. As the gang gets turned into sea ponies, we see Scootaloo take a very big liking to the sea pony life, seeing as how her swimming as a sea pony is very similar to how she would probably fly if she was actually capable to. We then proceed to actually meet Terramar's and Silverstream's mother, Oceanflow.
I brought this form for you to sign so that...
Both my children are so smart. Would you like to see their baby pictures?
Mom!
Well, it's nice to see that she acts like an actual mother and proceeds to embarrass her children. I think all of us know how that feels. Anyway, both Twilight and Oceanflow go off to do their own things and also probably get that slip signed at some point of time. Then Terramar proceeds to show the CMC around Sequestria so that way they can get the pros and cons of Sequestria down off the list. But Scootaloo takes more of a liking to Sequestria, unlike how Sweetie Belle was taking more of a liking to Mount Aris. And we start to see the conflict here for the fact that both of them are torn themselves between Mount Aris and Sequestria. When it comes to the song afterwards, it was an okay song. It wasn't the best that I've heard from MOP. It wasn't the worst that I've heard from MOP. It was just one of those really okay to good songs. And I just was okay with it. That's pretty much it. That's all I got to say. But in the song, we see how both Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle are actually fighting over the fact of them deciding which is better, Mount Aris or Sequestria. And then they decide just not to talk to each other afterwards, because of course they have to argue, because without them arguing, there wouldn't be a good enough conflict in the episode. And thanks to the CMC's conflict with each other, Terramar actually gets even more confused on where he wants to go, and proceeds to storm off. Congratulations, CMC, you made it worse. Can we start putting up a counter or anything like that every time the main character makes something even worse than what it originally was? At this point, I think we would have broken the counter by now. As the CMC explains to Twilight what exactly happened, we actually get to see both Skybeak and Oceanflow meeting with each other, and show that neither of them hate the other for what the other chooses to be like. They still love each other, and they still love their son. And that's really nice to see, because usually in other episodes, some stuff like this, some of the parents actually might be having a sort of fight, which is what makes the child want to choose between the two. In Code Lyoko, there's actually a similar situation where Yumi's parents were fighting, and she was afraid they might get a divorce or something like that. This one takes a different route by actually having both parents understand each other, understand the other's decisions, and be completely fine with it. And it's more or less just the kids' conflict with themselves, wondering whether or not it would be okay for them to just choose one side. And that's one of the things that makes this a good episode. Although it still doesn't completely tackle the whole divorce subject by not having the parents divorce, it doesn't have to. It still teaches the lesson pretty well, and it's still a good lesson to learn that even if your parents are in different situations and still love each other, it doesn't really matter which one you choose. They're going to love you no matter what, and they're still loving the other one. So it's fine either way. And sorry if I worded that in a weird way to where no one could understand it. Like I said earlier in the video, this is completely off script, so it's kind of annoying having to say something, mess it up, and then retake it 10 times. The CMC then devised a plan to have a picnic with both hippogriffs and T-ponies to show Terramar that it's fine to just be in both worlds while also having his parents there to explain it for him. They are completely fine with whatever he chooses, and they never meant to have him be in the way to where he thought he'd have to choose specifically one over the other. They love him no matter what, and they want him to be what he wants to be.
Keep doing what you've been doing, going back and forth.
And enjoying both places.
Again, that's a really good lesson, and a lesson that you don't see most modern cartoon shows show anymore. Steven Universe, I'm pretty sure, hasn't shown anything like this yet, nor has Gravity Falls. Although they're really good cartoons, they haven't touched on a subject like this. And it's impossible for anything like Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls, or anything like Ben 10 to either handle those subjects as well. They prefer most focusing more on comedy than actual good storytelling most of the time. And after the loving explanation from his parents, Terramar then decides that he'll just keep doing what he's been doing now. He'll just keep going back and forth between both mom and dad, they both still love him, and he'll just love them as much as well, and he's just being himself either way. And that was Surf and or Turf. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite and overall favorite episodes out of the entire series of MLP. I really like it for the fact that I was trying to convey a message that any kid can get behind and any kid can understand. A message saying that even if both your parents are in situations where they're both split up, as long as they both love each other as much as they did when they were together, or even love you as much as when they were together, and love you as much, it's completely fine. You don't have to specifically choose one over the other. You all love each other, and that's all that counts and matters. The only gripe I have with this episode would probably be the somewhat forced conflict between Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo, but then again, the editor did say in his review of this exact same episode that there was the personification of this entire problem in general. But other than that, I had no gripe with this episode. Didn't notice any errors or anything like that. Nothing seemed too forced, unlike the original gripe I said with the battle between the two, or the fight they had. But it's just an overall good episode that anyone can watch. And I implore you to watch the actual full episode and support the official release yourself. And with that, I'm going to end the video here because that's pretty much the entire episode. I don't know how frequent reviews like this are going to be, mostly because I want to avoid as much copyright on the channel as possible, and these kinds of reviews are difficult for the fact of how they're always unscripted. I'm not the type of person to write a script about something and then read off of it, meaning that a lot of times when I record this for the audio, it's not going to be the best because it's unscripted. Then I mess up when I try to think of what I'm saying and then say it, and I just have to keep redoing it consistently, and it's a real big pain in the butt. Not to mention the fact that I don't really have a good mic, and audio is always going to be inconsistent and weird and not the best. Along with the fact that editing is always not going to be the best as well, since I'm still a pretty amateur editor, if I say so myself. So reviews and stuff like this aren't always going to be expected every Sunday or Wednesday or something like that. They're basically just going to happen whenever I feel like it. And so far, I've only got one other episode out of the series I'd want to review before the next season comes out, especially with, if I'm correct, what the rumors are saying, Season 9 of MLP will be the last season we get until they get the next generation of it out. Anyway, that's all for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and comment section below. See you guys later. So peace out, watch the vlogs, and do whatever you have to hit that like and subscribe button to show your support for the channel, especially if you're new. Peace out. And don't forget to support the official release.